The early bird Harper Bennett pushed through the glass doors of Quantum Tech Solutions at exactly 5:30 a.m. The lobby lights hummed softly in the pre-dawn darkness. This was her favorite time of day, when the Boston skyline was still painted in shades of purple and orange, and the office belonged only to her. She clutched her travel mug in one hand and her laptop bag in the other. For 6 months now, Harper had maintained this schedule. Wake up at 4:45, quick workout, shower, and arrive before anyone else. The quiet hours before the office came alive were when she did her best work. An unexpected presence, the elevator dinged on the 14th floor. Harper stepped out into the accounting department, expecting the usual darkness and silence. Instead, lights blazed in the small kitchen area at the end of the hall. Her heart skipped. Nobody came this early. Ever. She walked slowly toward the light, her footsteps quiet on the carpeted floor. The sound of running water came from the kitchen, followed by a frustrated grunt. Harper peeked around the corner. A man stood at the coffee maker, staring at it like it had personally offended him. He wore jeans and a plain gray Henley shirt, his dark hair slightly messy. A worn backpack sat on the counter beside him. "First impressions need some help?" Harper asked. The man jumped, spinning around. His eyes were a striking green, and he looked exhausted. "I cannot figure out this machine," he said, gesturing helplessly at the coffee maker. "I have been trying for 10 minutes. Harper smiled. "You must be new to the IT department. I just upgraded these last month. Let me show you." She set down her things and walked over. The man stepped back, watching as she filled the reservoir with water, placed a pod in the holder, and pressed the large button on top. "See? Simple, once you know the trick," she said. "You make it look easy," he replied. "I am Caleb Harper. I work in financial analysis." She grabbed her mug. "What brings it up to the 14th floor so early?" Caleb hesitated for just a moment. "System maintenance. Better to do it when nobody is around." The morning routine begins. That first morning set a pattern. Harper arrived at 5:30. Caleb was already there, usually struggling with some basic piece of office equipment. One day it was the printer, another day the microwave. Harper found it charming that someone in IT could be so helpless with everyday technology. "You know," she said on their third morning together, "for someone who works with computers, you are really bad at this stuff." Caleb laughed, a genuine sound that made her smile. "I work with the big systems, the complicated networks and security protocols. This everyday stuff, completely different." They fell into a comfortable routine. Harper would arrive, make coffee for both of them, and they would work in companionable silence. Sometimes Caleb would sit in the empty cubicle near her desk, typing on his laptop. Sometimes he would walk around the floor, checking things she assumed were computer related, getting to know each other 3 weeks into their morning meetings. Harper realized she looked forward to seeing Caleb more than anything else in her day. He was easy to talk to, asked good questions, and never made her feel stupid for explaining basic office politics. "Why do you come so early?" Caleb asked one morning, sitting on the edge of her desk. "Peace and quiet," Harper said, not looking up from her spreadsheet. "Once everyone arrives, it is all meetings and small talk and drama. These morning hours are mine." "I understand that completely," Caleb said softly. Harper glanced up. It was something in his voice, a weight she had not heard before. "About you? Why the early mornings?" "Same reason," he said. "To escape?" "Escape what?" "Expectations. Pressure. People who want things from me." He stood up, changing the subject. "Your coffee is better than anything from the cafe downstairs." "I will take that as a compliment, even though you put ketchup on your eggs last week, so your taste is questionable." Caleb threw his head back and laughed. "That was one time, and I was half asleep." The personal touch. Harper started bringing extra breakfast, bagels from her favorite shop, fruit she picked up at the market. Caleb always ate everything with genuine appreciation. "You do not have to feed me," he said one morning, biting into a blueberry muffin. "I know, but you are terrible at taking care of yourself. When did you last eat a vegetable?" "No, does tomato sauce count?" "No, then I have no answer." She liked taking care of him. It felt natural, like they had known each other much longer than 3 weeks. One morning, Caleb brought her coffee from an expensive cafe across town. The cup had her name written on it, and inside was perfectly made caramel macchiato. "How did you know this is my favorite?" she asked, genuinely surprised. "You mentioned it last week. You were talking about that terrible date you went on?" Harper felt warmth spread through her chest. He had been listening, really listening. The guy who spent the whole dinner talking about his car? That is the one. Anyone who wastes dinner with you talking about a car is an idiot. The comment hung in the air between them. Harper felt her cheeks heat up. "Thank you for the coffee." "Thank you for the past 3 weeks of coffee. Consider this a very late payment." Office rumors begin. Whitney Foster cornered Harper in the bathroom on a Thursday afternoon. "Okay, Spill. Who is the hot guy you have been meeting with every morning?" Harper froze. "What? How did you know about that?" "Janine from security mentioned seeing you with someone on the cameras. She thought maybe you had a boyfriend visiting." Whitney grinned. "But then I saw him myself yesterday when I came in early. Girl, he is gorgeous. Where did you find him?" "He works in it," Harper said, washing her hands. "We just have coffee. It is not a big deal." "Not a big deal? You are glowing. You have not stopped smiling in weeks. This is definitely a big deal." Harper bit her lip. "He is nice, easy to talk to. We are just friends." "Friends who make each other coffee every morning and smile like that?" Whitney raised an eyebrow. "Sure, Jan." The growing connection that Friday morning, Harper found a note next to her coffee cup. It was written in messy handwriting. "Thank you for making these mornings bearable. You have no idea how much I needed this." See, her heart hammered in her chest. She looked over at the small office where Caleb usually worked, was typing on his laptop, completely focused. As if feeling her gaze, he looked up and gave her a small smile. Harper smiled back, holding up the note in question. Caleb shrugged, but his ears turned red. They were crossing a line. Harper knew it. This was becoming more than just morning coffee between coworkers. But she could not bring herself to care. The weekend felt impossibly long. Harper found herself checking her phone constantly, wondering if Caleb might text. But they had never exchanged numbers. She only knew him as the IT guy who could not work a coffee maker. Monday morning could not come fast enough. When she arrived at 5:30 a.m., Caleb was already there. He had 2 cups of expensive coffee waiting and a bag of fresh croissants from the French bakery near the harbor. "I miss this," he said simply. "It was only 2 days," Harper replied, but she was smiling. 2 very long days. They sat together in the kitchen, eating breakfast and talking about nothing and everything. Harper told him about her sister's wedding planning drama. Caleb shared a funny story about his college roommate. "It was comfortable. It was perfect," Caleb said suddenly, his voice serious. "There is something I should tell you." "What is it?" Before he could answer, his phone buzzed loudly. He glanced at it, and his entire body tensed.
"I have to go."
Something came up. "Is everything okay?" "Yes. No. I will explain tomorrow." Grabbed his backpack and hurried to the elevator. Harper sat alone in the kitchen, confusion swirling in her mind. What had he been about to say? The boardroom revelation Monday. Afternoon, Harper sat in the large conference room on the 22nd floor. Every department head had been called for an emergency meeting. Rumors had been flying all morning about the new CEO, who was finally arriving after months of delay. Gregory Palmer, her department manager, sat beside her. "About time we met this mysterious new boss," he muttered. The doors opened. Harper looked up from her phone, and her entire world tilted sideways. Caleb walked in, but he was not Caleb the IT guy anymore. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit, his hair styled, his presence commanding. Behind him walked 3 executives she recognized from company photos. "Good afternoon, everyone," Caleb said, his voice carrying across the room. "I apologize for the delayed introduction. I am Caleb Rivers, your new CEO." Harper's coffee cup slipped from her numb fingers. It hit the table with a loud crack. Everyone turned to look at her. Caleb's eyes found hers across the room. She saw apology there and regret, and something that looked like fear. "I know many of you have questions," Caleb continued, though he was still looking at Harper. "I spent the past month working quietly. Throughout the building, getting to know our operations from the ground up, understanding the real daily challenges our teams face." Harper stood abruptly. Her chair scraped loudly against the floor. Without a word, she walked out of the conference room. Behind her, she heard Whitney calling her name, but she kept walking. The elevator doors closed, and Harper finally let herself feel the full weight of what had just happened. Caleb was not an IT worker. He was the CEO. The CEO she had been making coffee for. The CEO she had given leftover bagels to. The CEO she had been falling for. The aftermath. Harper made it to her desk before the tears came. Not sad tears, but angry ones. How could he lie to her? Let her believe he was someone else entirely. Make her care about him under false pretenses? Her computer dinged. An email from Caleb Rivers at quantumtech.com. The subject line read, "Please let me explain." Harper deleted it without reading. 3 more emails came in the next 10 minutes. She deleted them all. At 5:45, most people started leaving for the day. Harper stayed at her desk, staring blankly at spreadsheets she could not focus on. At 6:15, footsteps approached. She did not need to look up to know who it was. "Harper," Caleb said quietly. "Please, just 5 minutes. You lied to me." "I never lied. I just did not correct your assumption." Harper finally looked up at him. He had loosened his tie, and he looked exhausted. "Good," she thought viciously. "That is the same thing," she said. "I told you things." "Personal things?" "I made you coffee every morning. I brought you food because I thought you were some lonely IT guy who worked weird hours." "I am lonely," Caleb said, his voice raw. That part was true. All of it was true. Just not the job title. "Get out of my office."
Harper.
Those mornings were real. The connection between us was real. I was not pretending about that. But you were pretending to be someone you were not. How am I supposed to trust anything about you now? Caleb opened his mouth, then closed it. He nodded slowly. "You are right. I should have told you sooner. I wanted to that last morning. But then the board called, and everything moved too fast. That is not good enough. I know." He turned to leave, then stopped. "For what it is worth, those 3 weeks with you were the best I have had in years. The only time I felt like myself instead of someone living up to impossible standards. Thank you for that, even if you hate me now." He walked away, leaving Harper alone with her anger, her confusion, and the treacherous part of her heart that still wanted to run after him. Tomorrow morning would be different. No more 5:30 a.m. coffee dates. No more easy conversation. Everything had changed in one devastating moment. Harper put her head in her hands and let herself cry for what could have been. The empty morning. Harper's alarm went off at 4:45 a.m. on Tuesday. Her hand reached out to silence it, but she did not get up. For the first time in 6 months, she stayed in bed. There was no point going in early anymore. The peaceful mornings were ruined, tainted by lies and confusion. At 7:30, she finally dragged herself to the office. The 14th floor was already buzzing with activity. People clustered around desks, whispering. Everyone had heard about yesterday's boardroom scene. Whitney appeared at her cubicle within minutes. "You okay? You look terrible." "Thanks. That is exactly what I needed to hear. I mean it with love." Whitney pulled up a chair. "So the hot IT guy is actually the CEO? That is insane. Did you know?" "Of course not. Do you think I would have treated the CEO like that if I knew?" "Treated him like what?" "You were nice to him." Harper put her head down on her desk. "I gave him my leftover breakfast. I showed him how to use the microwave. Oh God, I told him his taste in food was questionable." Whitney tried not to laugh. "Well, it probably is. Rich people eat weird things. This is not funny. It is a little funny, but also kind of romantic. He wanted to know the real you without all the CEO pressure. Or he wanted to make me look like an idiot." The promotion announcement tacked. 10 a.m. Gregory Palmer called Harper into his office. She walked in nervously, expecting the worst. Maybe Caleb had decided she was a liability. Maybe she was being transferred. "Sit down, Harper," Gregory said, but he did not look upset. He looked uncomfortable. "I have been instructed to inform you of a position change." Harper's stomach dropped. "I am being fired." "What?" "No, the opposite. You are being promoted to senior financial analyst, reporting directly to the CFO, Diane Mitchell." Harper stared at him. What? Why? Apparently, you identified some critical discrepancies in the Thornton merger documents last month. Your work saved the company from a very expensive mistake. But I just did my job. That was routine analysis. Gregory shrugged. Well, someone important noticed. The promotion is effective immediately. You will move to the 19th floor by the end of the week. Harper walked back to her desk in a daze. A promotion should feel good. This felt like a trap. Her computer pinged. Another email from Caleb. The promotion has nothing to do with us. You earned it 3 weeks before we ever met. Check the date on the paperwork. She opened the attachment. He was right. The promotion request was dated a month ago, long before their morning coffee meetings. But that did not make her feel better. Now, everyone would think she slept her way to the top. The office gossiped by lunchtime. The whispers had become open speculation. Harper heard fragments of conversation as she walked through the cafeteria. Must be nice. Dating the boss. Heard they were meeting in secret for weeks. She probably planned the whole thing. Harper bought a salad she had no appetite for and ate alone in the stairwell. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I know you deleted my emails. Will you at least read a text? Caleb. She should delete it. Block the number. Instead, she typed back, How did you get my number? HR records. Probably unethical. I am sorry. Add it to the list of things you are sorry for. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, can we talk? Really talk? Not at the office. Somewhere neutral. I have nothing to say to you, and just listen, please. 1 hour. After that, if you want me to leave you alone forever, I will. Harper stared at her phone. Every logical part of her brain screamed to say no, but that treacherous part of her heart, the part that remembered his laugh and his terrible attempts at making coffee, wanted to hear him out. Fine. 1 hour. Thursday at 6 p.m., the coffee shop on Newberry Street. Thank you. I will be there. Wednesday's struggle Wednesday was worse than Tuesday. Harper arrived at 7 a.m., deliberately avoiding the early morning hours. But the 14th floor felt wrong now, empty. She threw herself into work, analyzing reports until her eyes burned. At noon, Diane Mitchell, the CFO, stopped by her desk. Harper Bennett. I am Diane. Welcome to the senior team. Diane was in her 50s, with sharp eyes and an efficient manner. She looked Harper up and down. I requested your promotion because your work on the Thornton merger was exceptional. I do not care what gossip is floating around this office. You earned your place on my team. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good, now I need you to review these quarterly projections. I want your analysis by Friday. Diane dropped a thick folder on Harper's desk and walked away. Harper felt a tiny bit of relief. At least one person believed in her abilities. At 3 p.m., Harper's personal phone rang. Unknown Boston number. Hello. Is this Harper Bennett? An older woman's voice, warm and slightly breathless. Yes. Who is this? My name is Patricia Rivers. I am Caleb's mother. Harper nearly dropped her phone. Oh, hello. I am calling from the hospital. I am fine now, but I had a little accident yesterday. A fall. Caleb has been here ever since, and he will not stop talking about you. Mrs. Rivers, I am not sure why you are calling me. Because my son is miserable. He told me everything. About the morning coffee, about not telling you who he was, about how badly he messed up. Harper closed her eyes. With respect, this is between Caleb and me. You are right. I am meddling. But Harper, can I tell you something? Caleb has not had a real friend in 5 years. Everyone wants something from him. Money, connections, favors. When he talks about you, he lights up. He says you treated him like a normal person. Do you know how rare that is for him? He should have been honest. Absolutely. He should have. But he was scared. Scared that if you knew the truth, you would stop being yourself around him. And he was probably right, was he not? Harper hated that Patricia had a point. Would she have joked around with Caleb if she knew he was the CEO? Would she have given him leftover bagels? I have to go, Harper said quietly. Think about it, dear. That is all I ask. My son is many things, but he is not a liar at heart. He just wanted someone to see him, not his bank account. Thursday evening, Harper arrived at the coffee shop 10 minutes early. She ordered a latte and sat by the window. Watching people pass by on Newberry Street, Caleb walked in at exactly 6 p.m. He wore jeans and a simple button-down shirt, looking more like the man she had shared mornings with than the CEO from the boardroom. His eyes found hers immediately. He sat down across from her. Thank you for coming. Your mother called me, Caleb groaned. Of course she did. I am sorry. She means well, but she has no boundaries. She said you have not had a real friend in 5 years. That is true. They sat in silence for a moment. Harper sipped her coffee. Caleb fidgeted with a napkin. Why did you do it? Harper finally asked. Why lie about who you were? I did not set out to lie. That first morning when you assumed I was it, I should have corrected you. But then you smiled at me like I was just a regular person. Not the CEO, not someone important. Just Caleb, and I had not felt that way in so long. So you let me make a fool of myself. You did not make a fool of yourself. You were kind. You were real? Do you know how many people are real around me? 0. Everyone is performing. Everyone wants something. Harper looked out the window. What did you want from me? Nothing. That was the point. I just wanted to know you. The real you. Without all the corporate hierarchy getting in the way. You could have told me after the first week. Or the second week. But you waited until I found out in the most humiliating way possible. Caleb leaned forward. I was going to tell you that last Monday morning. I had it all planned out. But then the board called with an emergency, and I had to go. By the time I got to the boardroom meeting, it was too late. Do you have any idea what it was like? Sitting there, realizing that the guy I had been bringing breakfast to was actually my boss? Everyone staring at me? The gossip that started immediately? I know I am so sorry. If I could go back and change it, I would. Harper felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them away angrily. The worst part is that I was starting to care about you. The real you, I thought. But now, I do not even know who that is. I am the same person who cannot work a coffee maker. I am the same person who laughed at your jokes and looked forward to seeing you every morning. The job title does not change that, but it changes everything else. You are my boss now. People think I got promoted because of you. The promotion paperwork was dated before we met. I can show you. I know. But facts do not matter when people want to gossip. Caleb sat back. What do you want me to do? I will transfer you to a different department if you want. I will have 0 interaction with your career. I will stay away from the 14th floor. Just tell me what you need. Harper looked at him. Really looked at him. He had dark circles under his eyes. His hands were shaking slightly. He looked as miserable as she felt. I do not know what I want, she admitted. I am angry, but I also miss our mornings together. How messed up is that? Not messed up at all. I miss them too. I have been getting to the office at 5 a.m. hoping you might come early, but you never do, because it hurts too much. Harper, those 3 weeks were the most honest I have been with anyone in years. Yes, I did not tell you about my job, but everything else was real. My laugh was real. My interest in your stories was real. My feelings for you are real. Harper's breath caught. Your feelings? Caleb looked away, his cheeks reddening. I was falling for you. Maybe I still am. But I understand if I ruined any chance of that. You did not fall for me. You fell for the version of me that did not know who you were. No, I fell for the woman who is brilliant with numbers, but terrible at remembering to eat lunch, who makes perfect coffee and has strong opinions about bagel quality, who treats everyone with kindness, whether they are the janitor or the CEO. That woman is you, Harper. Title or no title. Hospital visit. Harper's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Patricia Rivers. Caleb does not know I am texting you. I just wanted to say thank you for meeting with him. Also, I would love to meet you properly sometime. No pressure. Just a mother's wish. Harper showed Caleb the text. He looked mortified. I am going to have a serious talk with her about boundaries. She is sweet. Pushy, but sweet. That is one way to describe her. He paused. She would love you, by the way. You are exactly the kind of person she always hoped I would meet. Caleb, we cannot just pick up where we left off. Too much has happened, I know. But maybe we could start over. Slow, honest this time. Harper thought about it, about the mornings she missed, about the easy laughter, about how Caleb looked at her like she was the most interesting person in the world. I need time, she said finally. I need to process all of this. Take all the time you need. I will be here. They sat for another hour, talking carefully about neutral topics, work projects, the weather, a movie Harper had seen. It felt like they were dancing around each other, trying to find their rhythm again. When Harper finally stood to leave, Caleb walked her to her car. Thank you for listening, he said. That is more than I deserved. Your mother is very persuasive. She really is. I am sorry about that. Harper unlocked her car, then turned back. Caleb, those mornings meant something to me too. I just need to figure out if they meant enough. That is fair. Good night, Harper. Good night. Friday's decision. Friday morning. Harper's alarm went off at 4:45 a.m. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Then, without letting herself overthink it, she got up. At 5:30 a.m., she walked onto the 14th floor. The lights were already on. Her heart hammered in her chest. Caleb sat at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee in front of him. He looked up when she entered, hope flashing across his face. Hi, Harper said quietly. Caleb stood up. I made you coffee. I remembered how you like it. Harper took the cup. She sipped it. Perfect temperature, perfect sweetness. You learned how to use the coffee maker. I had a good teacher. They stood there uncertain. Finally, Harper spoke. I am not ready to forgive you completely, but I am willing to try again. Slow, honest. Caleb's whole face lit up. Slow, honest. I can do that. And you have to tell me the truth from now on. About everything. No more secrets, I promise. No more secrets. Harper sat down at the table. Caleb sat across from her. It felt familiar and strange at the same time. So Harper said, Tell me about being CEO. The real story this time. Caleb smiled. It is terrible and stressful and lonely. But these mornings with you made it bearable. So that is a lot of pressure to put on coffee. It was never about the coffee. They talked until 7 a.m. when other employees started arriving. This time, when Caleb left, Harper did not feel abandoned. She felt hopeful. Maybe they could find their way back to each other. Maybe honesty and time could heal what had been broken. It would not be easy. The gossip would continue. The office politics would complicate things. But Harper was willing to try, because those morning coffees had meant something. And some things were worth fighting for. The board's ultimatum Monday morning brought trouble. Caleb sent Harper an urgent text at 6 a.m., emergency board meeting. They are demanding answers about us. Can you come to my office at 8? Harper's stomach twisted. She had known this was coming, but that did not make it easier. At 8 a.m. sharp, she took the elevator to the 22nd floor. The executive suite was intimidating, all glass walls and expensive artwork. Caleb's assistant, an efficient woman named Joyce, waved her through. Caleb's office was massive. Floor 2 ceiling windows overlooked Boston Harbor, but he was not sitting at his desk. He paced near the windows, phone pressed to his ear. I do not care what Richard thinks. My personal life is not up for board approval. He paused, listening. Fine, I will be there. He hung up and turned to Harper. That was Thomas Wu, the board chairman. They are calling a special meeting this afternoon about us. About the fact that I have been seen having coffee with an employee. Multiple employees reported it. Apparently, Harper felt sick. I should resign. That would solve everything. Absolutely not. You are one of the best analysts we have. Diane has been raving about your work all week. But if I leave, The board cannot complain. Caleb crossed to her, taking her hands. Harper, I am not letting you sacrifice your career because the board is filled with controlling old men who think they can dictate my life. They can fire you. Let them try. I own 40% of this company. My family founded it. They need me more than I need them. At the confrontation, the board meeting was set for 2 p.m. Caleb insisted Harper attend as his guest. Despite Joyce's warnings that it was highly irregular, the boardroom was even more intimidating than Caleb's office. 12 people sat around an enormous table. Thomas Wu, a stern man in his 60s, sat at the head. Caleb, this is a private board meeting, Thomas said, eyeing Harper. Harper Bennett is here at my invitation. What we discussed today directly affects her. Thomas's jaw tightened. Very well. Let us get to the point. Multiple sources have reported that you have been engaging in an inappropriate relationship with an employee. This creates liability for the company. I have been having coffee with a colleague before work hours. There is nothing inappropriate about it. He did not disclose the relationship. You promoted her shortly after it began. Caleb pulled out a folder. The promotion was approved for weeks before Harper and I ever met. Here is the paperwork, signed by Diane Mitchell and Gregory Palmer. I had nothing to do with it. Another board member, an older woman named Frances Delacroix, spoke up. The optics are still problematic. People talk. Let them talk, Caleb said. Harper earned her promotion through exceptional work. End of story. Thomas leaned forward. This is not just about one promotion. It is about judgment. You spent weeks lying about your identity to this woman. What else are you lying about? Harper felt her face burn. She started to stand, but Caleb touched her shoulder. I did not lie, Caleb said, his voice steady. I simply did not advertise my position. I wanted to understand our company culture without everyone performing for the CEO. What I found was eye-opening. I discovered that our early morning cleaning staff is overworked and underpaid. I learned that the coffee in the employee kitchens is terrible, while executives get premium service. I saw firsthand how brilliant analysts like Harper work twice as hard as their managers, but get half the recognition. That is irrelevant to this discussion, Thomas said. It is completely relevant. This company has become too focused on boardroom politics, and not focused enough on the people doing actual work. Harper represents what is best about quantum tech. She is smart, dedicated, and she cares about quality. The fact that I also happen to care about her personally does not change her value to this organization. Frances spoke again. What are your intentions, Caleb? Is this serious, or are you just having fun? Harper wanted to sink through the floor, but Caleb's hand remained on her shoulder, steady and sure. That is between Harper and me, Caleb said. But yes, it is serious. Very serious. Thomas stood. Then we have a problem. Company policy prohibits relationships between executives and subordinates. You have two choices. End the relationship, or Harper leaves the company. Harper had been silent long enough. She stood, her hands shaking but her voice clear. Excuse me, Mr. Wu, but I have something to say. Thomas looked surprised. Ms. Bennett, this does not concern you? It absolutely concerns me, since you are discussing my career and my personal life. May I speak? Thomas exchanged glances with Frances, then nodded. Go ahead. Harper took a breath. I understand your concerns about policy and optics, but let me be clear about a few things. First, I did not pursue a relationship with Caleb, because he is CEO. I did not even know he was CEO. I became friends with him because he was kind, genuine, and treated me like an equal. That is a nice story, Thomas said, but it does not change the facts. Let me finish, please. Second, I earned my promotion. I have the documentation to prove it. I have spent 3 years at this company, producing excellent work with minimal recognition. The moment I get promoted, everyone assumes it is because of a man. That is insulting. Frances nodded slightly. Harper took courage from it. Third, you are trying to force Caleb to choose between his personal happiness and his career. That is not leadership. That is control. And it is exactly the kind of thinking that drives good people away from companies. Ms. Bennet, Thomas said, his voice hard, you are out of line. Maybe, but someone needs to say it. You want to fire me? Fine, I will land on my feet. But do not pretend this is about company policy. This is about powerful men who do not like that Caleb is making his own choices. The room fell silent. Caleb looked at Harper with something like awe. Thomas cleared his throat. We will take a 15-minute recess. Caleb, Ms. Bennet, please wait outside. The waiting game in the hallway, Caleb pulled Harper into an empty conference room. That was incredible, he said. You just told off the entire board. I probably got us both fired. Worth it. Did you see Thomas's face? Caleb laughed, then sobered. Harper, you do not have to fight this battle for me. Yes, I do. Because it is my battle too. I am tired of people assuming I do not deserve what I have earned. Joyce appeared at the door. They are ready for you. Back in the boardroom, the atmosphere had shifted slightly. Thomas looked less stern, more thoughtful. We have discussed the situation, he said. Here is our decision. Ms. Bennet, you will transfer to a different department, reporting to someone other than anyone in Caleb's direct chain of command. Caleb, you will sign a relationship disclosure form. Any future career advancement for Ms. Bennet will be reviewed by an independent committee to ensure no favoritism. Harper felt relief wash over her. It was not perfect, but it was fair. Additionally, Francis added, we expect this relationship to be conducted professionally. No public displays at the office. No special treatment. If we receive any complaints, we will revisit this decision. Understood, Caleb said. Thank you. Do you not thank us yet? We are watching closely. Thomas stood. Meeting adjourned. Going public that evening. Caleb took Harper to dinner at a small Italian restaurant in the North End. They sat at a quiet corner table. Finally able to relax, Harper said, twirling pasta on her fork. We survived. Barely. You were amazing in there. I have never seen anyone stand up to Thomas like that. I was terrified. It did not show. You were confident and articulate and completely right. Harper smiled. Your mother would be proud. Speaking of which, when do I meet her officially? Caleb nearly choked on his wine. You want to meet my mother? She called me, remember? Plus, if this is serious, like you told the board, then I should probably meet your family. Okay, but I warn you. She will ask when we are getting married within 5 minutes of meeting you. I can handle it. They talked through dinner about everything and nothing. Work projects. Childhood stories. Future plans. It felt natural, like their morning coffee dates, but better. More honest. As they walked to Caleb's car, he took her hand. Harper, I know the past 2 weeks have been chaos, but I need you to know something. I am all in on this. On us, I am too. Scared, but in. We can be scared together. 3 months later, Harper arrived at the office at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday in December. She had transferred to the marketing finance department, reporting to a sharp woman named Linda Chen. Had no connection to Caleb's executive team. But the morning coffee ritual had resumed. Caleb met her in a small kitchen on the 19th floor now, away from prying eyes. Morning, he said, handing her a perfect latte. How was your evening? Good. Finished that projection report Linda wanted. How's your board dinner? Tedious. But Thomas actually complimented me on the new employee wellness program. The one I suggested? The very one. See? You are changing this company already. They sat together, drinking coffee and watching the sun rise over Boston. It was peaceful. It was perfect. Harper's phone buzzed. A text from Whitney. Coffee again. You two are disgustingly cute. How does she always know? Harper asked. She has spies everywhere. Also, she might have a crush on Joyce. Your assistant, Joyce? The very same. I have been trying to set them up for weeks. Harper laughed. You are such a meddler, says the woman who brought me breakfast every day until I fell for her. Was feeding you because you looked pathetic, not to seduce you. Ain't yet. Here we are. 7 o'clock, they left separately as usual. The gossip had died down once people realized their relationship was real and serious. A few people still whispered, but most had moved on to more interesting scandals. Meeting the family that Sunday. Harper drove to the Rivers family home in Brookline. It was a beautiful old house, with a wide porch and a garden Patricia clearly loved. Caleb met her at the door, looking nervous. "Ready?" "As ready as I will ever be." Patricia appeared behind him, beaming. "Harper, come in, come in. I am so happy to finally meet you properly." The afternoon was filled with warmth and laughter. Patricia told embarrassing stories about Caleb's childhood. Caleb's younger sister, Amanda, grilled Harper about her intentions. Caleb's father, Robert, a retired professor, discussed financial theory with Harper until everyone else's eyes glazed over. "I like her," Patricia announced at dinner. "She is smart and does not take any nonsense." "Perfect for you," Caleb groaned. "Mom, please." "What?" "I am just saying what everyone is thinking." After dinner, Caleb and Harper walked in the garden. Frost covered the ground, and their breath misted in the cold air. "That was not so bad, right?" Caleb asked. "Your family's wonderful." "Your mom is exactly as pushy as advertised. She likes you." "That is huge." "She hated my last girlfriend, the one from the board meeting stories." "Vanessa, yes, Mom saw right through her. Said she only cared about money and status." Harper stopped walking. "And what does she think I care about?" Caleb pulled her close. "You. She thinks you care about me. The real me, and she is right. I do care. More than I expected to. Good. Because I am crazy about you." They kissed in the cold garden. Surrounded by winter roses and possibility, 6 months forward, the spring sun warmed the 19th floor as Harper reviewed quarterly reports. Her phone rang. Caleb's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," she answered. "What's up? Can you come to my office? I have something to show you. Is this a work thing or a personal thing?" "Both." Harper made her way to the executive suite. Joyce waved her through with a knowing smile. Caleb stood by his windows, looking out at the harbor. He turned when she entered. "What is this about?" Harper asked. "I have a proposal." "A business proposal," he added quickly, seeing her expression. "Though I have another proposal planned for later." Harper's heart skipped. "What, the business proposal first?" "I want to create a new position. Director of Operational Finance. Someone who can analyze company spending across all departments and recommend improvements. Someone brilliant with numbers, who is not afraid to challenge the status quo." "That sounds amazing. Who are you hiring?" "You, if you want it." Harper stared. "Caleb, we talked about this. No special treatment? This is not special treatment. Linda recommended you. So did Diane and 3 other department heads.